It's good to see you today. My name is Scott Henson. I'm here on behalf of the Save Our Springs Coalition. It's good to see y'all here today. I'm especially pleased to get to come visit with, after the appointment of the new city attorney. I've gotten to know your family very well in the course of all of the stuff over your brother and your mother's become very dear to me. So I just want to welcome you, and I'm happy to see you here. I'm here today to talk to you about the effects of the water treatment plant on residential utility rates, because I think that something that's not been discussed often enough and that I think is increasingly clear to me is that water treatment plant 4, once you start the construction, once you get to the point where we're going to go ahead and spend all this money, then you are simultaneously committing yourself to what turn out to be rather large residential utility rates. And I have tried in this document that I've distributed to you, titled The Perfect Storm, to quantify that in some way, but just for a moment's background before I get to the nitty-gritty. The reason I titled this The Perfect Storm is because that's actually the phrase that was used by the Austin Water Utility budget officials when we asked the question, well, okay, what's going to happen now that we're $43 million under budget this year, and all the factors that are currently causing us to be $43 million under budget appear to be going forward into the future. We're going to still have conservation. We're going to still have rainy seasons, that not every year is going to be the most extreme droughts that we've had recently. There's no indication, although Austin's doing better than many places, that the economic downturn that has reduced the number of hookups and cost the utility money on the margins because they're not adding as many new customers is gonna end certainly by this summer when y'all have to set your water rates. But what they say is that this is a perfect storm. I find that incredibly telling, because if any of y'all have ever read the book or seen the movie The Perfect Storm, it's about a ship captain who, against all good advice, steers his ship into a mighty tempest, and everyone dies. So I think that that's probably an apt statement. I think they're pretty much telling you like it is, if y'all will just listen to what's being said. It's been incredibly difficult, and especially going back through last year's budget cycle and all the discussion on rate setting, looking at the backup that y'all were given, the water utility was given, the backup from the public information request that SOS has done over the years. It's frankly very difficult to figure out exactly what was the residential rate impact and what it will be going forward into the future. If you will look on page 5 of this document that I've handed you, at the very top on table 1 is a table that I'm not sure if it's been distributed to you yet, but it was given to your water wastewater budget subcommittee last week. And this is the Austin Water Utility schedule for their projected rate increases over the next 6 years. I've also added in the current year's rate increase because y'all already began to raise rates last year in preparation for the water treatment plant 4. And as you can see, when you total up all of the combined rate increases, it's a fairly substantial amount, 28.96% by 2015. However, and this is the piece I think, it's just what was said to you earlier. We're looking at all these in very narrow atomic fashion, and not looking at the big picture. The other thing, completely unrelated to water treatment 4, that's happening in the big picture, is that you have done in 2008 a cost of service study on your utility rates. And what that cost of service study determined is that commercial and industrial payers were paying about 9% in aggregate more of the utility revenues than they should be. That if you were to have an honest, fair cost of service study where everyone pays their own rate for reasons, for example, because they have constant usage year-round. Samsung doesn't go up and down because they water the lawn more. They're using the amount of water they do because they're using it for industrial activities. And so for reasons like that and many others, the cost of service study recommended shifting that 9%, which is a lot in aggregate for the whole utility, from the commercial and industrial to consumers, to residential consumers. And we found out in the documentation given to Water Wastewater last week that they will be doing that, they say, over the next 5 to 7 years in 1 to 2% increments per year. And again, this isn't 1 to 2% of the rate, it's the overall utility revenue that they're shifting. So it has an even greater impact on rates. So, again, very, very difficult to identify exactly what the residential rate impact would be because not enough information has been given so far, and I'm especially hesitant, but we're going to do it anyway, to attempt these calculations in front of Mr. Spellman, whose criminal justice statistical work I've relied upon and admired for many years, and so I know somebody will catch me if we get some of this wrong. Oh, I've known Bill too long. It's but it really is true. In my criminal justice work and other topics, I've used it a lot, used his stuff a lot. If you look at Table 2 down here just lower, if we apply the same rate structure that was applied in the first year increase, we only have 1 year of increase so far of the 6 to go by. And we've been told that we're not going to see the new estimates for what the residential are projected going forward until late July. And so that 1 year is all we've got. But if we assume that in 1 year, that the shift in burden in that 1 year it will be the same going forward, that was a 1 to 2% increase and that will be the same going forward, then the residential rate impact is what you see in Table 2, which reaches all the way up to 73.82, 74% over this 5-year period.